Blizzard is worse than you thought. No to oglądamy.
The year is 2023, and a once beloved game developer's reputation is in absolute freefall. What was at one point probably the highest rated developer in the industry, a studio that pumped out classic after classic, has now become the home of incomprehensible horror. Corporate greed, broken promises, botched releases, stolen breast milk. This is the story of Blizzard Entertainment.
No. 30 minut materiału, zapowiada się niesamowicie. O, to stare logo Blizzarda, takie
The year is
rozpixelowane.
1991, and three guys have just graduated from the University of California.
Ugh.
Alan Adham, Michael Morhaime, and Frank Pierce. They get together to create a game development studio in Irvine called Silicon and Synapse. The name is deeply philosophical and well thought out, with silicon representing the building block of a computer and synapse the building block of a brain. However, people keep mistaking the silicon part for the material in breast implants. Anyway, they spent the first few years porting games to different systems, but soon begin producing their own original games, with The Lost Vikings in 1992 and Rock and Roll Racing in 1993. Eventually, they get sick of constantly being mixed up with women's breasts, so they decide to switch things up, changing their name to Chaos Studios. However, a company based in Florida already has the trademark, and are now asking for $100,000. They then decide to change the studio's name to Ogre Studios. But in 1994, they're acquired by a holding company for a few $1 million, and turns out their new owners aren't a fan of the new name. Okay, so they flip through a dictionary, and oh my god, there it is. In 1994, Blizzard releases their first self-published title, a real-time strategy
Warcraft,
game
Humans
called
and
Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, and it's an instant success. It's one of the earliest real-time strategy games to hit shelves, and it's a blast. It also has a modem and LAN multiplayer, meaning people can get
Jezu, w ogóle system Battle.netu był tak potężnym narzędziem w rękach Blizzarda.
together and go ham. And the game does well.
Często właśnie mówiąc o Blizzardzie mówi się o tym, jak wysokiej jakości były ich produkty, ale faktycznie zapomina się o tym, że oni byli jednym z prekursorów takich systemów online wrzucanych do gry, które były całkowicie seamless. Przez Battle.neta było się banalnie połączyć z innymi graczami. To była świetna rzecz, to było genialne rozwiązanie, które też bardzo mocno przyczyniło się do tego.
Selling 100,000 copies in the first year. And for the first time, Blizzard...
A wiecie, w tamtych czasach Battle.net, łączenie się z innymi ludźmi, fora dyskusyjne. Chłopie, no, masa dodatkowego pokrycia dzięki temu się stworzyła, ponieważ gra miała większą głębię niż wejście w nią, przejście jej i ukończenie jej.
Entertainment is profitable. They follow it up with Warcraft 2 in 1995. It's another home run. Critically acclaimed, and now selling over 1 million copies in its first year. Nice. It's now 1996, and a company called Condor Games is looking for a publisher for their nearly complete game, Diablo. Blizzard has a little look, and they like. So they buy them and rename them Blizzard North. It's also at this point that Blizzard notices something. Warcraft 2 had picked up a lasting online player base, mostly through third-party networks that connected players over this magic new thing called the internet. So they decide to make their own, Battle.net. Its original functionality is very simple, with the ability for players to chat to each other and search for a match. But on December 31st, 1996, it launches alongside Diablo, and people log on and play. Diablo is a massive hit, also selling over 1 million copies within its first year. In 1998, Blizzard launches StarCraft, an RTS set in space. It sells bigly, and quickly grows a massive esports scene. Diablo 2 launches in 2000, another smash hit. It reaches almost 3 million sales by the end of the year, becoming the fastest selling PC game of all time.
O! Ty, nawet nie wiedziałem tego, że Diablo 2 w pewnym momencie było królem najlepiej sprzedających się gier komputerowych.
In 2002, Warcraft is back, and now it has an extra dimension. Warcraft 3 sells 1 million units in just 1 month. immediately becoming the new fastest selling PC game. It also releases with a campaign editor, which spawns a series of popular mods like Defense of the Ancients. And after its expansion in 2003, it's all hands on deck for Blizzard's next project. The year
W
is
ogóle, a propos WoWa, tam była taka sytuacja, że oni skończyli jeden projekt, mieli grupę informatyków, programistów, którzy nie mieli się czym zająć i oni z braku laku zaczęli sobie tworzyć nowy projekt, który ewoluował potem finalnie w WoWa i zobaczyli, że to jest zajebiste.
2004, and Blizzard is getting...
A wiecie, co było najważniejszym selling pointem WoWa? To, że to było jedno z pierwszych MMOsów, które nie miało kary za śmierć. Wcześniej MMOsy były bardzo hardkorowe. Stary Full Teamie, w TB, w innych tego typu produktach, jak umierałeś, traciłeś wszystko. W WoWie po prostu musiałeś dojść do ciała jeszcze raz.
ready to release its biggest game yet. They'd seen how big MMOs like EverQuest were getting and thought they'd try their hand. And after $60 million and 5 years of work, it's finally nearing release. And in November 2004, World of Warcraft launches. And it takes the world by storm, smashing even Blizzard's forecasts. There are so many players trying to log on in the first week that their servers have a complete meltdown, with server queues reaching the thousands.
A tamte fora to aż brzmiały od tego, że ludzie to chcieli cashbackować. WoW miał tragiczny start.
Get past the queues and actually into a game? Well, now you're greeted with a ton of latency issues and a probable disconnection, meaning you're now back on that queue screen. After the initial server problems are ironed out and people can actually play, the game sucks people in en masse. Fans are very enthusiastic. It hoovers up awards left, right and centre, and sells a ton of copies, reaching almost 6 million sales by the end of its first year. World of Warcraft isn't like your average
W tamtych czasach 6 milionów sprzedanych kopii w grze z pierdolonym abonamentem, czajcie to?
game though. Instead of simply buying a copy, players have to pay a $15 monthly subscription fee to play. 6 million times 15 every month. And Blizzard isn't doing
No.
Everyone is playing the game, and its ads go on to feature a ton of celebrities.
I'm Chuck Norris, and I approve this game.
And others like Vin Diesel, William Shatner, Henry Cavill, Mila Kunis, and Dave Chappelle announce their addictions in various interviews. World of Warcraft is everywhere.
God fucking damn it!
World of Warcraft would also result in the launch of BlizzCon in 2000.
Ej, ja w tamtych czasach na punkcie WoWa to byłem totalnie pierdolnięty, pamiętam. Ja pamiętam na przykład taką sytuację, miałem takiego świra na punkcie WoWa, że mój brat pojechał na jakieś zlecenie do Niemiec do pracy, wrócił i jako prezent przywiózł mi niemiecką gazetkę o WoWie, co było całe wydanie tylko o WoWie. Ja siedziałem, czytałem niemiecką gazetkę o WoWie, nie? Godzinami. Chłopie, ja miałem totalnego pierdolca na punkcie WoWa.
5. A massive annual
W tamtych czasach, to jeżeli faktycznie, no nie wiem, jesteście za młodzi, żeby to zapamiętać, to był tak ogromny szał, który jak weszliście, to z niego się po prostu nie dało wyjść. Słuchajcie, pokrycie WoWa było tak ogromne i jeszcze weźcie pod uwagę, że to było faktycznie w czasach, w których ja mam trochę wrażenie, że trochę bardziej się jaraliśmy rzeczami, bo tych rzeczy ogólnie było mniej. To było stare jak Power Rangersy kiedyś, to było jak... Nie wiem, aż ciężko mi znaleźć porównanie. To było jak He-Man w latach 80. Stary, to było jak Władcy Pierścieni na początku lat 2000. To, co się działo wtedy z WoWem, no nie, to było ogromne. Tego nigdy nie powtórzymy już, naprawdę mam wrażenie, bo w całkowicie inny sposób konsumujemy media już.
convention that would feature big musical acts and announcements for Blizzard's future games. Fans could also ask the devs questions and were sometimes even featured. At this point, Blizzard is among the all-time greats of gaming. Every game a smash hit. They could do no wrong. But first, flying a plane is easy. Just get in, flip a few switches, and you're off. But in War Thunder, it's even easier, and a ton of fun. Jump into intense PvP that takes you from the ground to the
Siema
sea,
widzowie,
all
dzień
the
dobry,
way to
cześć
the
Radzion,
skies.
siemanko.
In fact, War
Siema
Thunder is the most
Radziuk, dzięki za Prima, bardzo mi miło, dzień dobry, witam.
time. Just look at all those things. There's more than
War
2,000
Thunder.
of them. Someone that likes the small and agile, or a fan of the
No,
more
zgrabnie to
voluptuous.
weszło.
Well, War Thunder has something for everyone.
To widzowie
The
nie
game
moja
is deep
reklama jak
indeed,
coś, no
with
nie,
a
ale
dynamic damage system,
czuję się zobligowany nie
individual
skipować, jak
components,
oglądam czyś
and a
content.
huge customization system.
Chciałem wam
Hundreds of
teraz.
camos, historical emblems, and over a century of vehicles to pick from, and their models, painstakingly detailed to 100% accuracy, which you can enjoy in gorgeous 4K graphics. And you can play on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC for free. Fancy a large bonus pack with all this stuff? Just sign up through the link in the description or the pinned comments below.
Tak, War Thundera są giga dobre, tam przynajmniej raz w miesiącu specyfikacje jakichś projektów związanych z faktycznymi działaniami militaryjnymi wypływają. No fajnie, ja też lubię, bo to jest taki wideo essay, nie? Hunter, uwielbiam tego typu materiały. W Polsce mamy bardzo małe pokrycie takich materiałów. Ja sobie zawsze do snu oglądam takie, nie?
The year is now 2006.
Możemy obejrzeć kiedyś taki, jest o historii, jest 2-godzinny od Mad Season WoW. Jest 2-godzinny materiał o historii WoWa, jest genialny.
World of Warcraft has almost 10 million active subscribers and is bringing in a ton of money. So naturally,
Początek
it's turned a
Wotlka.
few heads.
10
One of those
milionów.
heads, Bobby Kotick, CEO of Activision. Now in 2006, Activision had made good tracks in just about every genre of games, except one.
Activision w tamtych czasach było takim obecnym Tencentem. Oni mieli łapę na wszystkim. Naprawdę, totalnie na wszystkim. Ja pamiętam w Tony Hawk'u mi się strasznie podobało to logo Activision, gdzie na ten szpikulec to oko wskakiwało. Mega fajne to było. I na przykład wtedy Activision było jeszcze kojarzone z taką oznaką jakości trochę, że oni nie podpisywali się pod jakimiś małymi projektami. Fajne tam było strasznie to logo. A to jest to samo co Tencent teraz. Na wszystkim ma łapę.
And one that was now booming, the MMO. With Warcraft currently bringing in over $1 billion a year in subscriptions alone, he's interested. Now at this point, Blizzard has changed hands numerous times and is now owned by a company called Vivendi. So Kotick approaches Vivendi with a proposition. Vivendi receives money, Activision receives Blizzard. However, Vivendi says no. Instead, Vivendi offers to merge their gaming subdivision with Activision, with Vivendi owning a majority share in the resulting company. And after a brief hesitation from Kotick, in 2008, the deal closes.
I to jest, widzowie, to jest 2008 rok, 2004 start WoWa, 2006 TBC, 2007, 2008 to jest czas Wotlka. I to jest moment, w którym wszystko się zaczęło pierdolić. Powoli, ale Wotlk już był pod Activision.
Activision Blizzard opens its doors with Kotick as CEO, and Activision and Blizzard now its two subsidiaries. Blizzard would supposedly retain
I
most
to
of
jest
its...
moment upadku Blizzarda. Totalny. Po tym roku nie wyszło już nic. Naprawdę nie wyszło już nic. StarCraft 2 chyba, tak? Na początku bardzo dobrze prosperował. Nadal w miarę dobrze prosperuje, ale w bardzo mocnej niszy. No i mamy co jeszcze do tego? No Hearthstone. 2014 rok. Hearthstone świetnie się przyjął. No ale zrobili wszystko, żeby go w 3 lata totalnie zgnoić do zera.
autonomy and keep their CEO, co-founder Michael Morhaime. It's now 2010, and Blizzard has gone from just under 500 employees before the launch of World of Warcraft to now over 4,600, the majority of whom are preparing for the launch of StarCraft 2 in July, and the third major Warcraft expansion.
Ja widzę to w taki sposób. Przejął to Activision, mieli jeszcze starą grupę. Te stare grupy naprawdę próbowały jeszcze uszyć na tym materiale, który jeszcze mieli, z tego co, z tych resztek, które zostały ze starego Blizzarda, ale to się powoli wykruszało. Tego materiału po prostu zaczynało brakować i w pewnym momencie się już po prostu nie dało.
Cataclysm in December. Now these launches were not small. Warcraft had been hitting peak after peak of players and was now at 12 million monthly subscribers, and StarCraft 2's sales projections are also sizable. But Blizzard currently has a problem. Their forums. They're a little bit toxic. Blizzard has a big team of moderators, but according to them, this still wasn't enough. So behind the scenes, they get
O
brainstorming.
Jezu! Nie mówcie, że to będzie z podpisywaniem się imieniem i nazwiskiem.
And someone has a brilliant idea. how about we just force everyone that posts on our forums to use their real first and last name? Genius. And in July 2010, Real ID is unveiled. And people absolutely hate it. So in an attempt to sell the idea to players,
Wiecie w ogóle, ile Real ID miało takich wewnętrznych dram w Blizzardzie, w sensie w WoWie? U nas, pamiętam, była taka sytuacja, że Real ID dopuściło do tego, że okazało się, że nasz guildmaster, który zaniedbywał gildię, zaczął sobie grać na innym serwerze i mówił, że ma jakieś problemy rodzinne, a okazało się, że gra na innym serwerze, bo to już wykrywało wtedy, mogłeś zobaczyć, że ktoś siedzi gdzie indziej, nie? To się całe gildie potrafiły przez to rozpadać, naprawdę.
Blizzard's community manager posts his full name on the forum. See guys, it's fine. But almost instantly, people descend on the forum and get to work. And within mere minutes, they find and publish his home address, phone number, age, Facebook, family names, and a list of his favourite music and movies. Okay, you know what? Fair enough. And after just a few days of being announced, Real ID is scrapped entirely. By 2009, the Warcraft 3 mod Defense of the Ancients had gained a significant following, and had even spawned a whole new genre of games, MOBAs.
To już był moment, w którym Blizzard przestał wyznaczyć trendy i Blizzard był we wszystkim za wolny. Czyli powstały moby i Blizzard zamiast odpowiednio szybko to złapać, to chłopie, po ilu latach funkcjonowania Doty 2 i LoL'a Blizzard wypuścił Heroes of the Storm? Po 4 latach funkcjonowania Doty 2 w ogóle? Po 3 latach funkcjonowania Doty 2? Po ilu latach funkcjonowania LoL'a? Po 6? To był absurd totalny.
For much of that time, Blizzard had paid little attention to the mod or the game, but the success of the recently launched League of Legends could no longer be ignored. And Blizzard finally steps in, starting work on their take on the genre, titled Blizzard Dota. Around the same time, and Valve wants to make their own MOBA. They'd hired the head dev of the original Dota mod, snapped up the Dota trademark, and they're calling their new game Dota 2. Blizzard is furious. So in 2012, they file a statement of opposition, arguing that the name Defense of the Ancients was associated exclusively with Warcraft due to it being made in their map editor. However, this argument has issues. See, the mod was created in Warcraft 3's map editor, but that map editor had no specific terms and conditions on ownership of said maps, IP, and concepts. They end up settling out of court a few months after, with Valve getting the commercial rights.
Ale generalnie Blizzard bardzo dużo takich sztuczek wystosował i na przykład próbowali udowodnić, że wizerunek Pudża jest połączony z wizerunkiem Abominacji z Warcrafta 3 i sforsowali ich w kilku miejscach bardzo mocno do zmiany wizerunku niektórych postaci. Kilka takich tanich sztuczek zastosowali, nie?
To the term Dota.
I na przykład głównym aspektem Abominacji był otwarty, wiszący brzuch z flakami. I zauważcie, że Pudż ma teraz zawsze zamknięty brzuch.
And Dota 2 releases in 2012. It's massively successful, and goes on to be an esports giant. Blizzard gets non-commercial use of the title for its community, and renames Blizzard Dota to Heroes of the Storm, which releases in 2015, and support is canned 3 years later. Blizzard would change its licensing agreements for all future games to include their ownership of player-created maps in an attempt to avoid this ever happening again.
No i to jeszcze gorzej się potoczyło.
And the massively anticipated sequel to Diablo 2 is looking like it's releasing this year. Its development had been a bit rocky.
Jezu, ja pamiętam, jak zacząłem to wypuszczenie, byłem takim psychofanem Diablo 2, nadal jestem. Ja na to Diablo 3 byłem tak napalony. Ja nie wiem, czy kiedykolwiek była premiera, na którą byłem bardziej napalony niż Diablo 3. Naprawdę.
Its dev team, Blizzard North, being canned in 2005, along with their version of the game. But on the 15th of May 2012, the rebooted Diablo 3 launches. The game is horrendous. For one, its launch is horrific. The game is online only, and turns out there are massive server issues. People are spamming their login details over and over, only to be kicked out by Error 37. What's worse, there's no queue system in place, so you have to manually retry every minute. This issue takes over a week to fix. Then there's the auction house. Here, loot can be bought and sold using your mum's credit card. Activision Blizzard gets filthy rich, while the balancing gets obliterated. Endgame content is also essentially non-existent. However, the game sells almost 4 million copies in its first 24 hours, and over time, slowly makes a turnaround. In 2014, the real money auction house is closed, and Blizzard launches Reaper of Souls, an add-on praised almost unanimously. They're ready to make a second add-on to the game, but management says no. Apparently, executives see the game as a massive failure and demand devs
No i to też był jeden z pierwszych momentów, gdzie oni wypuścili dodatek, a potem zaczęli wypuszczać płatny content w postaci płatnej.
jump ship. The year is now 2015. The past 10 years had seen massive expansions to Warcraft, including controversial changes to the game and its mechanics, and player numbers reflect that, now being in steep decline. A growing number of players long to go back to the days of vanilla, version 1 of the game, back in 2004. One fan even floats the idea to Blizzard themselves at BlizzCon 2013. Here's how that goes.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions?
Oh, you think you
as
do,
they
but you
were then?
don't.
No.
Okay then, we'll just make one ourselves. And the fan-made Nostalrius vanilla server goes online in February 2015.
O, ten Nostalrius to było tak genialne. Jezu, ja pamiętam jak w to grałem. Ja pamiętam jak ja to streamowałem w ogóle. To był sam początek mojej przygody streamerskiej.
Running version 1.12, a month after the original launch. It's not long before the server gets massively popular. with
Nostalrius
almost a million
milion chyba
accounts
kont.
registered.
Dokładnie.
It's also not long before Blizzard catches wind and brings the hammer down. Their lawyers sent them a cease and desist in 2016, and the server is promptly shut down. Realizing they were completely wrong about vanilla Warcraft, Blizzard do a full 180 and announce Warcraft Classic in 2017. Back in 2007, Blizzard started work on a huge MMO called Project Titan. It was
O! Chłopie, ile o tym Project Titan się słyszało. Tam jeszcze przecież w międzyczasie był projekt ten StarCrafta,
described as a
przygodówki
combination of
zamknięty.
Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress, and The Sims. But development led nowhere, and 6 years later, the plug is pulled. A massive failure on Blizzard's part, and a major internal embarrassment. However, the team behind it would attempt to rework the remains of the story and assets into another project, and in 2016, Overwatch hits shelves. And it's amazing. It's critically acclaimed across the board, and massively popular, quickly becoming one of the most popular esports titles on the market. That, paired with their genre pioneer
Jasne, ale trzeba pamiętać, że tutaj Blizzard ogromną ilość siana wpakował w to, żeby Overwatch był e-sportem. On nie był e-sportem, który był organiczny, który się po prostu wytworzył. Nie, on był totalnie napompowaną bańką e-sportową, która jak odcięło się od niej pieniądze, to padła.
and card game Hearthstone back in 2014 that now has almost 100 million players, and Blizzard is looking strong. However, there are problems brewing. See, Overwatch was the last big game they'd had in the pipeline for a while, and they realised they don't have much to show off for BlizzCon 2018. So Blizzard rushes to find something to show off. Got it.
Diablo Immortal.
Fast forward to November 2018, and their presentation is ready to go. They sprinkle a few niche announcements here and there, like a remastered Warcraft 3, but they have one big announcement centerpiece. After 6 long years, a brand new Diablo. For mobile.
Like, look, Diablo 2, come play the mobile game that has nothing to do.
I'm amazed, honestly. It's this bad. This is fucking insane. I don't even know like what to even say about this.
Just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC.
Chyba to był... To mi się... Generalnie w oczach ogromnej ilości osób to był moment, w którym Blizzard całkowicie upadł. Leżał już na totalnym dnie. Ale wiecie, co było najlepsze? Że Blizzard powiedział, nie. Wam się dopiero wydaje, że to jest kurwa dno, a my jeszcze zamierzamy kopać w dół. Don't you guys have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones.
The game eventually launches, and it's bad. Firstly, it's not even developed by Blizzard, but their Chinese partner NetEase, and turns out it's monetized to the tits. It costs over $500,000 to max out a single character, and becomes the worst rated game ever on Metacritic. By 2018, fans are noticing something. Activision Blizzard had been creeping, and Blizzard was changing. See, back in 2013, Activision had bought back the remaining Vivendi shares for about $7 billion, meaning they, and by extension, Bobby Kotick, now had complete control of both Activision and Blizzard. Fast forward to 2018, and this creeping had only got worse. Because of the slowdown in game releases, Blizzard's revenues are taking an absolute nosedive. So Activision steps in. It pushes the company to cut costs, and gets them to produce games at a faster pace, with Kotick apparently installing his own executives within Blizzard to ensure that happens. Apparently, tired of Activision's meddling, Blizzard co-founder Mike Morhaime steps down as president and CEO, and leaves the company after 27 years of work. He's succeeded by Warcraft's executive producer, J. Allen Brack.
Ja nie mogę,
And by
Jay
the
Allena,
way, you
Jezu,
don't
ja
want
go
to
tak
that-
nie
to do
lubię.
that either. You think you do, but you don't.
And as soon as this happens, we accelerate. The company immediately prioritizes cutting costs, and the Heroes of the Storm's development team is outright annihilated. Its esports league is also scrapped right before its 2019 season. As a result, entire teams, commentators, and support staff are suddenly left jobless. And despite 2018 being a record year
Nie no, dobra, ja wam powiem tak, no przecież z Hostem to szło przewidzieć. Host był takim kurwa gównem. To była moba, która przeczyła wszystkim filarom moby. No to tak jakbyś zrobił strzelankę z automatycznym celowaniem. No nie no, Host to był popierdółka, no. Jak możemy mówić o Hostie w kontekście sportu? Przecież to była totalna beka. Host jest taką ścierą do podłogi.
for Activision profit.
Zaakceptujcie to. Nie można stworzyć moby, która nie ma przedmiotów i nie ma expa, który jest przydzielony tylko do ciebie. No to jest gra, która polega na tym, żeby mieć świadomość tego, kto jest najsilniejszym bohaterem na mapie. To jest gra, która polega na tym, żeby po konkretnym zestawem przedmiotów kontrować przeciwnika. Nie no, HOTS to była totalna tragedia. To było zaprzeczenie idei moby. To była moba stary dla 40-letnich facetów. No nic więcej, którzy sobie po prostu wchodzili do moby, żeby w nią poklikać.
They lay off 800 employees, almost 10% of the company. They begin rehiring the exact same jobs a couple of years later. So going into 2019, people are not happy. But turns out, over on the other side of the world, and things are happening in Hong Kong, they're not good. Their government has proposed a bill that would give China more authority over them,
Drama z Hong Kongiem.
and that's not too popular. At the same time, Hong Kong native Blitz Chung is participating in Hearthstone's esports league. He wins, and uses the post-game interview to show his support for the protests. But as soon as he says it, something happens. See, Blizzard has a huge player base in China, and to keep that
Co w Blizzardzie wpadł na... Nie no, to dobra, to chyba najbardziej absurdalny pomysł Blizzarda.
player base available to them, they have to bend over backwards for the Chinese government. So when this happens, they go scorched earth. They take the livestream down seconds after he says it, slap him with a year-long ban, and even confiscate his prize money. Even the guys casting the stream are fired. It's not long before the internet catches wind, and people are furious. At one point, even Congress members have a go. After a few days of pressure, J. Allen Brack eventually comes out. He reduces the ban to half a year and grants Blitzchung his prize money back. He also says that Blizzard's relationships with China had no influence on their decision. Blizzard is starting to look seriously not cool, so they decide to go into BlizzCon 2019 with the big guns, announcing Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2. Also, that Warcraft remaster they'd announced at the infamous 2018 BlizzCon is coming out next year. This'll be good. Back in 2015, Blizzard had set up a subdivision to remaster old games, the first of which would be Warcraft 3. And in January 2020, the highly anticipated remaster launches. And, oh boy, the game is beyond terrible. Here's why. Before launch, Warcraft 3's advertising touted multiple new features. Over 4 hours of cinematic new cutscenes, more story, and new voice acting. And a complete campaign overhaul, changing the story to be more in line with the current Warcraft lore. But when players log on, turns out absolutely none of this is in the game. This is after being advertised on the website for over a year.
Liar!
There's also a ton of features from the original Warcraft 3 just outright missing. Here are a few of them. No ranked play?
No.
No profiles?
No.
No account stats?
No.
No custom campaigns?
No.
No clans?
No.
No cross-region play for custom games?
No.
And no offline play?
No.
It's possible after a few patches, but it's a little complicated. Also,
No i przede wszystkim usunięcie starego Warcrafta całkowicie.
after some digging, people realize the main menu background is actually a Chrome-based web app, and it's taking up more of your CPU power than the actual game. Online matchmaking sucks and kicks you out all the time. This is without
I
a
nie
way
ma
to
light
reconnect,
drainingu
by the way.
oczywiście.
Graphics are worse than advertised.
Treason!
Z grafiką to nawet nie jest kwestia tego, że ona jest gorsza niż została zapowiedziana. Ona jest po prostu paskudna, kurwa. Nie dość, że tam są, jak są pokazane awatary, to one nie mają anti-aliasingu, oni mają rzuconą jakieś jedno takie stałe źródło światła, które jest dosłownie parszywe fest, takie białe odbicie. Na te nowe awatary w tym okienku to się nie da patrzeć. Budynki mają inne wielkości i co najlepsze, Blizzard próbuje nawet przebalansowywać grę później, już tam wiecie, nawet po roku, po 2, w taki sposób, że całkowicie nie rozumie założeń mety. Ja was odsyłam do materiału Grubiego, w którym to omawia i on pokazuje, jak Blizzard próbuje wprowadzać zmiany, całkowicie nie rozumiejąc, jaka jest podstawa takich statystyk konkretnych jednostek, gdzie na przykład zwiększają wielkość abominacji, przez co ona się staje niegrywalna w takim kontekście, w jakim poprzednio było grywalna. I po pół roku to na przykład wracają do tego i to ściągają, bo ludzie, którzy jeszcze próbują jakoś w to grać, są tak oburzeni. Tak, był nawet turniej, żeby wypromować Reforged, typu wywaliło z gry, no i nie było light drainingu.
The new art direction is bad. 5 of the game's maps are exactly the same as the original, and poor optimization, tons of crashes, and countless bugs. On top of all of that, Reforged is a mandatory update for everyone with the original game. Own the original with no intention of upgrading? Well, here's an additional 30 gigabytes of install size anyway. All of this amounts to one of the worst launches of a game in history. Within a few days of release, it ends up at 0.5 out of 10 on Metacritic. At the time, the lowest Metacritic score in history, before being dethroned by Diablo Immortal. So naturally, hordes of people pile in to request refunds. But wait, you've booted up the game even just once? Sorry, you're not allowed. There's so much outcry about the game, however, that Blizzard eventually caves and starts actually granting refunds. The game is so bad that the entire classic games division of Blizzard is completely canned.
You're fired! Get out of here!
It also causes an upcoming Diablo 2 remake to be pushed back more than a year.
Ale widzicie, to może dobrze, że go tak przyciągnęli, to Diablo 2. Może ono by wyszło w takiej absurdalnej wersji.
So it's 2021, and Blizzard's reputation is currently abhorrent. But luckily, Overwatch 2 is just around the corner. Hold on a sec. Oh god. Turns out that over the last 2 years, the California Civil Rights Department had been investigating Activision Blizzard due to multiple reports of sexual harassment from staff. And by July 2021,
nie wiem, ja
they
już
had
nie
enough
mam
evidence to
pojęcia,
file suit.
co w Blizzardzie było gorsze. Faktycznie, przecież oni potem cały fratboy culture u nich się rozpoczął. Ja jak to oglądam, to i zaczynam sobie o tym wszystkim przypominać, to mam nie no, co jest, stary, oni tak kopali w dół cały czas, no to jest aż... Na to już się nieprzyjemnie ogląda, nie?
The lawsuit states that sexual harassment, unwanted advances, and groping are common within Blizzard, both before and after the merge. This includes the mention of an executive suite at 2013's BlizzCon. It's not a nice place. In fact, some employees literally dub it the Cosby Suite. Then there's the alleged underpaying of women, and complaints to both HR and the president repeatedly being ignored. But there was something else. The employees' breast milk. It keeps being stolen. In the lawsuit, more than one employee alleges breast milk theft. It was very clearly breast milk, in baggies with a baby's face on it, a former producer claims. One day, I went to retrieve my pumped supply at the end of the day.
Co? Ej, ja nie słyszałem o tym, to jest żart jakiś?
The fallout is monumental and makes headlines industry-wide. Few people are spared. Current Diablo 4 lead, gone. His character's name in Overwatch, also gone. Level designer on World of Warcraft, gone. Head of HR, definitely gone. Warcraft designer on World of Warcraft, gone. Head of HR.
Bez kitu, Barrigę też wypierdolili po tym. Ej, ja to muszę jeszcze raz zobaczyć.
The fallout is monumental and makes headlines industry-wide. Few people are spared. Current Diablo
Tego pamiętam na samym początku, jak ktoś
4
przedstawiał.
lead, gone. His character's name in Overwatch, also gone. Level designer on World of Warcraft,
Tego
gone.
nie kojarzę.
Head of HR.
Ale Barriga przecież był głównym spokesmanem, jeśli chodziło o przedstawianie Diablo 4.
Definitely gone. Warcraft League gone.
No i ten... On ma to, a w Sarabii jakoś tak jakoś się nazywa? On miał w Stratholmie ten jeden swój przedmiot, nie? To on był chyba głównym.
J. Allen gone. Their chief legal gone. The Wall Street Journal also alleges that Kotick knew about the whole thing, ignored it, and in some cases, even jumped in himself. He denies most of the allegations,
I did not.
but eventually apologizes for a one-time instance where he left a voicemail threatening to have his assistant killed. It's all fine.
Co? Co?
Water under the bridge. Sponsors like T-Mobile, Coca-Cola, Kellogg, IBM and Pringles also all jump ship from the Overwatch esports league. And Activision Blizzard is hit with a class action lawsuit on behalf of its shareholders.
What?
Overall, the situation's not looking great. Activision Blizzard denies most of the claims, and in June 2022, they investigate themselves and find no wrongdoing. The immediate reaction to Overwatch 2's announcement was one of confusion. Overwatch 1 was a monetized game with a thriving player base and regular updates. The kind of game that doesn't need a sequel. So this was a strange move. Overwatch 2's development would also mean the end of support for Overwatch 1 in 2020, with us seeing no new Overwatch content for multiple years, essentially killing the game. What? But with Overwatch 2, Blizzard reassures us it was all worth it. Just look at all this new stuff. 5v5 instead of 6v6, shiny new graphics, balancing changes, map reworks, 6 new maps, 3 new heroes, more than 30 new skins, a new game mode, a battle pass and cosmetics shop, and most importantly, a PvE campaign. People had been longing for a story in the Overwatch universe, and now it was finally happening. And it was ambitious. Blizzard shows off a full campaign, along with hero missions, talents, and massive skill trees unique to each hero. Hundreds of missions at launch, they announce. A truly replayable campaign. And don't worry, with Overwatch 2, Blizzard tells us they were redefining what a sequel really means. Overwatch 1 players get all the new maps, updates, and heroes that released in Overwatch 2, and both player bases can cross-play together. The purchase of Overwatch 2 essentially only granting the PvE mode. Okay, sold. Players are on board. 10th of March 2022, and Blizzard has an announcement. Look, we know we said hundreds of missions at launch, but, well, it's taking a while, so we're just gonna release the game now without it, and add it later. Then in June, they come out again. The game's now free to play and launching in October. But anyway, on the 4th of October 2022, it goes live. There are some issues. Events are bad, tons of balancing issues, the looking for group feature is now just completely gone. But mainly, there's the new cosmetics system. In Overwatch 1, earning cosmetics was simple. Just play the game, level up, and earn loot boxes that give you skins. You could pay for them, but that was completely optional. In Overwatch 2, things are different. Blizzard has now slapped on a seasonal battle pass system, where the bulk of cosmetics would now be unlocked. There's also a rotating store, and the prices there aren't great. You can unlock skins for free through the challenge system, but there's a problem. It takes about 8 months to get one. A simple character recolor takes almost 4 weeks. All of this means that it will take you around 327 years to get all the stuff you could get relatively quickly for free in Overwatch 1. Better get playing. Also, there's now a new hero every other season, and they'd be locked behind the later levels of the season pass. Your options are, spend every minute of your life grinding for them, or pay up.
Give me money.
In Overwatch 1, they were unlocked straight away. Fans don't take kindly to these changes, but then in May 2023, Blizzard comes out again. So, that PvP hero campaign that we've been advertising, and was pretty much the sole reason we made the sequel in the first place, pretty much completely scrapped. No more talent trees or hero missions. Instead, we're just gonna pepper some PvE missions around every few seasons. This was essentially the entire selling point for the sequel. Some of the remaining story content is still planned, with its first release on August 10th, but when it finally releases, it's only 3 missions. Blizzard is saying the game won't be getting any more story missions until at least 2024. They also add Overwatch 2 to Steam, and it instantly becomes the worst reviewed game of all time there.
Ile oni mają rekordów najgorzej ocenianych gier już na ten moment? Całą trójkę podium mają?
It's now 2023, and Blizzard's reputation has never been worse. So when Diablo 4's release approaches...
No i teraz tak. Zapamiętajcie sobie to pierwsze 30 minut filmu i potem wszystkich ludzi, którzy mówili, że a ja tam się jaram na Diablo 4, nie mam powodów, żeby im kurwa nie wierzyć. Wy wyobraźcie sobie, że mając świadomość tego wszystkiego, kurwa, tworzysz content od Diablo 4, masz tak jak ja wcześniejszy dostęp do pierdolonej bety, o której się nie możesz wypowiadać, bo podpisałeś z tymi skurwysynami cyrograf i ludzie ci mówią, ja nie mam powodów, żeby im nie wierzyć, kurwa. Pokazujesz ludziom, jak krowie na rowie, co jest w tej grze zjebane, pokazujesz im, jakimi są łapczywymi sukami, a ludzie ci mówią, a wiesz co, mi się wydaje, że robisz to dla atencji, bo próbujesz się wybić. Czajcie to, kurwa. Byłem tam, próbowałem to ludziom powiedzieć, ale nie. Większość osób nie skurwiło. Przynajmniej teraz moje imię się oczyściło finalnie. Jak wyszło, kurwa, na moje, ale następnym razem, jak jest Mirkiem z YouTube'a, to zanim napiszesz taki komentarz, to po prostu zastanów się, czy ktoś może nie mieć większej lub szerszej wiedzy na taki temat jak ty i nie będzie miał zamkniętych oczu w dupie dewelopera.
People are cautious, but on the 5th of June, the game launches. And it's surprisingly good. There are some issues here and there, but reviews are mostly positive, and over 10 million people log in and play, making Diablo 4 Blizzard's fastest selling game of all time. For the first time in years, things are actually looking up. And this game was live service, meaning it would receive 3 seasons of content for the foreseeable future, the first of which was launching in July. A month later, and in July, Season 1 of the game drops. It is disastrous, and Reddit goes into a complete meltdown. Turns out, everything gets a big nerf, including the Metacritic score. The Sorcerer
Ale patrzcie, to też jest trochę beka, że on to przedstawia z perspektywy, że Diablo 4 wyszło i było spoko, a sezony to zepsuły. Nie, Diablo było już u podstawy skurwione do dna.
class, which was already underpowered, is hit especially hard. Then there's the enemies being overpowered, much less XP, a bunch of reskinned dungeons and enemies, barely any new content, and 0 quality of life changes.
Everything here is wrong.
One streamer on Twitch tries to explain why the season isn't that bad. Here's how that goes.
Explosion is at... I actually just lost my hardcore character, while trying to explain this to you, I changed my mind. I hate this season.
And it seems Blizzard also has a bit of a fixation on the
Battle Pass. Battle Pass.
O! Moje wideo! Który Filip zrobił, widzowie, to od nas! Widzowie, to wideo z tej społeczności! In your face, biatch! In your face! Oj tak! Kurwa! Ale piękne! Ty, no to mi dzień zrobiło, totalnie mi to zrobiło dzień. Mamy, widzowie, przyłożoną cegiełkę do tego upadku Blizzarda. Przepiękne.
And it seems Blizzard also has a bit of a fixation on the
Battle Pass. Battle Pass. Battle Pass. Battle Pass. Battle Pass. Battle Pass.
Speaking of
Na moim kanale to pierwsze poleciało. O, ale essa.
which, it gives paid players 666 platinum. The cheapest item in the store is 800. Also, back when Blizzard was designing the menus for the game, they decided to place the Activate Premium Battle Pass button right next to the button you're constantly pressing to see your season progression.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
There's also no confirmation button, so if you want to check your progression and accidentally misclick, congratulations, you've just purchased it. There are multiple other confirmation buttons for other menu options in the game. So Blizzard's last few years haven't been great.
Somehow, Blizzard is now worse than Bethesda!
It had slowly become
Jeszcze stary Bethesda zhejtowana w materiale. Chłopie, jaki combo.
with overreach from Activision, more fiscal concern, and most of the original talent having left the company, among other things. Maybe Blizzard wasn't the company it once was, and after a back-to-office mandate in 2023, even more talent is leaving. So much talent that Blizzard is now actually creating crisis maps for what content they can and can't get done. But with the acquisition from Microsoft, who's currently focusing on making good exclusives to slap on their Game Pass, some fans are hopeful for change. But for now, the outlook on Blizzard Entertainment remains bleak.
To było dobre wideo, żeby rozpocząć nim, słuchajcie, weekend, naprawdę. Może większej ilości osób poszerzy to perspektywę, dlaczego na przykład nienawidzę Blizzarda. Byłoby fajnie. Dzięki za oglądanie. Ludologiczna essa. Świetny materiał.